Morning. Welcome to Hayling Island. It's February 2025 and I'm on a short winter trip to Hampshire. Although you see later on I may stray into Sussex. So I started off my trip at Winchester, where I caught up with the Vancular offspring. I would have liked to spend a little more time in Winchester and maybe do a film from there, but the weather was pretty bad and time wasn't really on my side with some of the other things I wanted to do. However, I'm sure I'll be going back there. So I headed down to the coast and I've ended up with I think about 3 films to share with you. My first stop was Meon Shore, quite close to Southampton. It was a Sunday afternoon, the weather wasn't too bad by then and it's quite busy, quite popular. I wasn't expecting to like the location in terms of still photography, but actually I rather took to it. And you may even notice, unusually for me, that there are people featuring in some of the photographs. So here's a few memories from my visit to Meon Shore. My next location, after Meon shore, is here, Hayling Island, and in particular the southwest tip. The very narrow inlet to the side of the island, which means the tides can be pretty vicious. I don't think I've really caught that in some of the video. It's quite spectacular to watch. My first visit to this location was further back there, and I had a late afternoon explore with the outgoing tide. While I was here, I was thinking to myself I'd really like to see it in slightly different conditions, which is why I come back today, and I'm not disappointed. I'll show you a few scenes from my first visit here a bit later on, but before that I want to talk about the other films in this series. In the next film I'll be at the southeastern tip of Hayling Island, and what turned out to be quite a beautiful walk and a rather modest beginning. Third film, I'll be exploring what is quite a large area, in fact, known as Chichester Harbour, with many inlets and nature reserves. And my walk didn't quite go as planned. I didn't ultimately end up in the destination I had chosen. It was a fantastic day out anyway. I'll say more about that in the film itself. As I've been walking today, I noticed a rather dark shape in the distance, and I'm approaching it now. Burnt out remains of a boat, and a fiberglass boat of that. There's some Coast Guard tape around the site, so maybe there was some kind of investigation about it. I don't know how photogenic that is. I'll try my hand at a few images. Take two. No, it's not very photogenic. Some of the detail shots of the engine and its state of decay were quite interesting though. The state of the sea and the conditions and the light, however, that really is taking my fancy. There's a photographer whose work I admire greatly. She works a little bit further down the coast, I think. I'll put the name and details up for you. And I must stress what I'm doing here today is nothing like the work she does. It's okay to be inspired. I'll round off this first of 3 films by taking you back a couple of days, as I described earlier, and a visit to this location down at the other end of the beach. I did shoot some video on that day, but it's more about the stills, I think. For film 2 of this short series, I'll be right down at the other end of this southern edge of Hayling Island, and something quite different. Until then, I've been your avuncular host. Thanks for watching.